I've got the answer right here, ladies and gentlemen, to everything that ails you. Now step right up.
One who acts like a duck about his salves and remedies. The cruel practice of making money on people's worries, feared throughout the years as quackery.
I said cured of backache, nervousness, and
All right. Okay, what's up, y'all? We're back here with the Quackery. And this week, I am taking John and you quackhead and you fans of all things quackery down the road of radiation. So, these are medical treatments and all sorts of shit with radiation. I put on here, it will give your skin that unnatural glow. So John, what exactly is radiation? What do you think?
I mean, I know what it is because I did that. So on the
You
Talk
watched
Marine
Chernobyl.
podcast, I did it was that too, yeah. But I did a whole episode.
And you did the one with Fukushima or whatever.
Yeah. This guy was exposed to high level radiation, but I know they use it for chemotherapy. But I didn't know that. I thought that was it. Are you going to tell me that people use it for anti-aging?
Well, I wouldn't say they use it now. Well, maybe some people do, but they certainly did. We'll get into that.
And what movie is from a movie? This guy, is this from a movie?
Oh no, I don't know. I
This
just
first
typed in
page?
some. Just
Super creepy.
very creepy. It's a zombie wearing a hazmat suit. You know, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but yeah, I just was looking for like a creepy radiated zombie. All right, so just a super simple definition of radiation. It's the emission of energy as electromagnetic waves or moving subatomic particles, especially high energy particles, which cause ionization. So that probably doesn't make a lot of sense to anyone. But here, I put a little picture. I'll put it up on quackerypodcast.com. It's a really easy diagram. It explains. I mean, basically, if you have a fire, right, a bonfire, if you put your hands over the top of it, it's going to be very warm. That's because it's heating the air that rises, and that warm air is touching your hands, right?
Yeah.
Or if you put like a hot iron in the fire and put it in there for long enough, and you hold one end of it, well, the end of it is eventually going to get hot too. That's called conduction. The heat is conducting up that piece of metal. And then if you're down exactly on the same level as the fire, but it's not raising any air, and but you can just feel the heat coming off from the fire from the side, that's from radiation. It's radiating energy in all directions, just like that.
Yeah.
And of course, so not all radiation is dangerous, but we'll get into what the hell is going on.
So it's like all the rest of the stuff.
Yeah.
It's like
There's
everything
all this
that's
energy flying around, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
You'd have to get somebody who's like a damn genius. We'll call Neil deGrasse, my boy ND, come on here and tell us about radiation. Because like you said, you're like, I know what radiation is, but then you're like, well, explain it. And you're like, it's glowing and it makes your hair fall out? I don't know. Anyway, the most historic, obviously, meltdown you can think of is Chernobyl. You watched that show on HBO, right?
Yeah, what an excellent show that was.
That
too.
shit was radical, bro.
Yeah. I almost read the book, but then I was like, wait, why am I reading the book?
You already saw the show, man.
Yeah, no.
It's like, why even read the book when you can watch the show or listen to the audiobook? So we'll do a quick history of radiation here. So you guys have all probably heard of Marie Curie and her husband Pierre. Maybe you hadn't heard of Pierre, but Marie you've probably heard of. But anyway, there was a guy before that who accidentally discovered radiation. His name was Wilhelm Conrad Roentgen, and he discovered X-rays in 1895, and then in 1898, Marie and Pierre Curie discovered that thorium gives off uranium rays, which she renames radioactivity. Then, actually, Wilhelm Conrad Roentgen wins a Nobel Prize in 1901 for his discovery of X-rays because, they're able to allow people to look basically inside of people for medical practice, which is pretty damn badass. And then, skipping ahead, in 1913, Hans Geiger obviously the gentleman who invented the Geiger counter to detect radiation levels. And that's like a very rudimentary sort of timeline. There's a lot more. If you look, there's a million things, but we'll talk about, I thought it was interesting. Do you know how X-ray machines work? I never thought about it before this, actually.
I don't, but I do know what's really interesting. Color, right? Like blue, green, all that spectrum, and radio, like radio waves and X-rays and electromagnetic waves and microwaves, they're all in the same spectrum, which I think is really interesting.
That is,
but
it
X-rays,
is, right?
Yeah, so X-rays are more powerful than whatever radio waves. So I'm not sure how they work.
Ooh,
but I
sounds
think they
like you've
just
taken a
bounce
great
off your
course.
I love great
Did
courses.
you did you on optics? That's what they call that?
No, I don't know. I listen to a lot of science.
Yeah.
And one guy that explains it really good is this British guy. He's a physicist. His name is Brian Cox. He used to be a rock star, and
That's pretty
I can't remember
badass.
what band, but it was like a real big band.
Was it called like Brian
And then-
Cox Rocks? Here, I'll look him
But
up.
he explains it well. He explains the spectrum.
Sorry,
of
the dad jokes
waves.
are strong with this one. Brian Cox, physicist.
Does it say what band he was in?
Music. He was in the rock band Dare, and they had a #1 hit, Things Can Only Get Better.
But he explains it really good. As
That's
far
awesome.
As
Yeah. No, I actually love learning
X-rays
about
and all
that stuff.
Yeah. But he's got a really good show called, I think it's like The Wonders of the Universe or something. And he really explains it for a layman. That's all I know. I don't know how they work. I think they just bounce off the bone material or something. And then it sends back the image to you somehow. I don't know.
If we threw it away, things can only get better. Whoa, You guys have heard that song. It's a good one. Anyway, I got a picture here that says it has Superman asking Batman, "Do you think I should tell Wonder Woman I have X-ray vision?" So the way that medical X-ray machines, all X-ray machines, I guess, work. So it actually, you are right. Sorry, you can hear my drink here. Oh, I forgot to fucking tell you guys. I'm calling it a radioactive zombie. It's Nipotati's vodka with Mountain Dew, Diet Mountain Dew. Thank you very much. Gotta watch those carbs. It's delicious. I've been drinking them for a couple hours. That's why I'm jacked up and sort of buzzed.
Holy Jesus.
Well, I mean, when you're off and watching the kids, a
You're
hard
shaking.
a hard
You're
five, a hard 5 becomes a hard 3:30. Like,
visibly
it must be
shaking on the
3:30. It's got to be 3:30 somewhere, right? So you're right. So it's on these spectrum. It's just not on the physical. The visual spectrum. Like, so the visual spectrum of light would be Roy G. Biv, right? Red, orange, yellow, blah blah blah, indigo, violet, whatever indigo looks like. I think both of them are purple. I can't tell the difference. So once you get outside of those, we can't see them. But X-rays are going to be oscillating so much that they're able to pass through solid matter, but not all solid matter. That's what we found out. And so if you do an X-ray on someone, there's certain things in your body that are more dense that it won't pass through, like bones.
Yeah.
So because of the density of the bones, when the X-ray comes through the other side, it's a quote unquote shadow. It casts a shadow of the inside of your body. So it's like a really strong light that is casting shadows on things, and your skin is like you can see through it. That's basically like
Creepy.
a rudimentary way to look at it. Yeah.
So you can actually see through. So even if you don't have a monitor, you can see through your hand.
No, you would have to have so an X-ray is going to have a receiving end on it's looking at how the shadow is cast on the other side.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I gotcha.
A lot of times you'll have the X-ray machine when it blinks like that, it's turning like the X-rays are going through, and at the same time the camera is taking a picture of that. I don't know how that shit works. Don't ask me that. I didn't look that up. But that's basically how it works. It casts X-ray shadows that you can see.
That's a good yeah, you explained it really well, man.
I try to dumb things down because I'm dumb. So when I figure out something, I have to be like, when it finally clicks, I'm like, oh, I need to tell people this analogy because, yeah. Anyway, so we got 1895. Within 5 years, by 1900, there were already people were using X-rays to treat stuff on their own without any sort of medical recommendation because they were like, oh, this shit must be good. I don't know why they thought so. Initially, they would use the X-ray machine to treat things on their body instead of just using it to look, which it wouldn't be too dangerous unless you used it all the damn time, right?
Yeah.
So that's why they cover up, your private parts and stuff like that. It can make you go sterile. And if a woman who's pregnant does not want, they're not going to get the X-ray done on them. So they would use it to remove unwanted hair. They would use it to clear up infected hair follicles. They would use it for inflammatory stuff on your skin, like acne and eczema, or different sort of autoimmune things like lupus and epithelioma, which are these big growths on your face. I don't know if you've seen these. They're kind of weird looking. Sorry to anyone who suffers with it. I know a lot of people have lupus, and it's very easily controlled now, as long as you don't have people like Donald Trump taking all your hydroxychloroquine. So that's actually a treatment for lupus. So there you go, full circle.
What is lupus exactly?
It's just an autoimmune disorder where your immune system's overactive, and it's basically just the main symptom is this butterfly-shaped rash on people's face, and it can be really annoying, and they can get other sort of rashes and skin conditions and things like that. But I mean, anytime you get a rash on your face, that's going to affect your quality of life a lot. So having control on that, a big deal. They were also used for all sorts of shit. I'm talking about X-rays here. Some people tried them for tuberculosis, epilepsy, and they kind of were the fad of the day. So they replaced. Before that, people were trying electricity for everything. I was like, oh, let's just shock everything. Now they're like, oh shit, let's put X-rays on it. I don't know. So then something called radium was discovered. It's a chemical element, number 88, and it is silvery white, but it readily reacts with nitrogen rather than oxygen when it's exposed to air, because it's not just oxygen and air. I'm sure most people know that. And forming a black surface called radium nitride. And all isotopes of radium are highly radioactive. So it's basically as soon as it touches the air, it's basically putting off radiation. Every type of radium is going to be highly radioactive. But people, and so let's fast forward 1 year here from X-rays, when people started using X-rays, after radium was discovered, boom, they're going to start using it for all the same shit, right?
Oh my God.
They're going to use it for lupus and any sort of rashes, any sort of things on their skin. And the reason why was this doctor, his name was Henri Becquerel. Sorry if I butchered that name. Sorry, I took French in high school and I sucked at it. So Henri here can kiss my ass. And he's 120 years old, 100 at least. But anyway, he had a tube of radium in his waistcoat pocket, and he left it there for several hours. It burned his skin. There was a burn where he was storing it in his jacket. And so, of course, people are like, oh, well, if it can burn, there's a lot of shit on your skin that people want to burn off. Growths and whatever. They were like, oh, this stuff seems safe and you can burn without heat. It doesn't hurt. It just leaves the burn behind. What if we can burn off warts? We can burn off, we can treat lupus. I don't know why everybody tried it, like radiation for lupus. I always thought that was the strangest thing. They said they successfully, air quotes here, treated multiple cases of lupus with an admixture of radium and barium chloride. So that would be they made a paste or something and rubbed it on someone's face and let the radiation burn their rash. I don't see how that was successful.
Weird.
So from there, basically that was just the start of radium, and then now it took off freaking crazy. It was like, I didn't even know about this, but apparently people were gaga for this shit. So, and here's why. So in 1903, the same gentleman who discovered the electron, apparently, J.J. Thomson. Remember we had the episode on a magnetism with Leo, and he said that, or maybe I said this, he told me this, the guy who discovered the electron was like looking at Edison's light bulbs, and he's like, what's that black shit on the filament? He's like, I don't know. I don't care. I just care that it works. I'm practical.
Yeah.
And so they were curious, and they discovered it through that. So I assume it was this guy. Huh. So anyway, he wrote to the journal, it's called Nature. He said that he went around to all these different, basically, health spas with these natural springs that people were going in. Kind of like Zizek's, although Zizek's was bullshit. There wasn't a natural spring there.
Yeah.
And he found out that most of the most famous bathhouses and health springs in the world were radioactive a little bit.
Jesus.
Yeah. They had radioactive water. So people, instead of being worried about this, they thought, oh, well, shit. That must be why they're so healing. That's why that when I go there and I feel so much better and relaxed, it must be because of the radiation. It must be because of the radium in the water.
And these are natural springs.
Right.
He's talking about, right? Yeah.
Very low amount, in these natural springs. It's just because it's coming up from the ground waters. Yeah. And it wasn't really enough, as far as what they could tell, to cause problems. I mean, maybe if you were in there every damn day with this stuff. But even so, I don't think so. It was just very low. But people obviously took that same theory we talk about where, if a little's good, a lot must be better. That's not always the case, right? And a little wasn't good. It was correlation, not causation, know? So inspired by this, using preparations of radium salts in your bath, almost like, bath salts now.
Yeah.
But not those kind of bath salts. Like Epsom salts and shit. People would treat themselves at home. Hey, we'll get some radium salts and put it in our bath at home. Hey, radiation at home. They would use them to treat arthritis, gout, and neuralgia.
So if I put
like nerve pain,
if I put radium in my bathtub and the water is just lukewarm, would it heat it up? So it actually heats it up? Because it burns.
I don't think it would be enough. No. Well, it's radioactive, so the radiation is going to put energy into the water, right? So I don't. And now I'm not I'm just spitballing here. I don't know the answer to that question, but I don't think that it's going to be strong enough without harming you badly. I don't think it's strong enough to heat the water. Now you know how a nuclear power plant works, right?
Yeah.
The radiation from
they basically they control the radiation.
They boil water with the radiation heat.
Yeah.
So you get a radioactive. Yeah. What is it they use? They don't use radium. They use
It's not plutonium, is it?
Plutonium. Yeah, plutonium now. Yeah. I was trying to think. I was like, what is it? I got to think of Back to the Future. It's like, we just need to get our hands on some plutonium. Yeah. I don't know about you, future boy, but around 1955, plutonium ain't exactly lying around. Yeah. God, what a great movie. I like them all. I even like the Wild West, Back to the Future.
Yeah, I did like, that's the third one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like them all.
One.
Dude, Marty McFly, the man.
Yeah.
Talk about,
Biff?
out there for us little guys. Oh, Biff Tannen. Yeah. I love how they had a Biff in every timeline. Be like, Mad Dog Tannen. Biff Tannen.
If I ever have a son, I'm going to name him Biff.
You should, man. Oh, shit. Biff Perry.
Maybe my next dog, Biff.
Ooh, I know. I meant to be writing down all these damn cool names that I wouldn't be allowed to name my kids, and so I could use them for future dogs, but I'll forget them all, It's kind of like Halloween costumes. You're like, oh, shit, I should dress up like Marty McFly. That'd be sick. Get, like, the hoverboard, and then but come October, I'll be like, what was I going to do again? Fuck it, I just put on a toga.
Yeah.
That's what my wife and I would always do. Be like, we can just go in someone's room, bed, frat house and go grab their bed sheets, put them on. Good to go. They might not be so clean, but, it's college.
Ugh. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's some pictures I'll put up on quackerypodcast.com. These are some really nice bathhouses and spas and shit like that. This one is in Claremore, Oklahoma. It's called the Radium Bathhouse, Claremore's finest, and it's really nice looking. But like they're advertising now that there's radium in their water naturally, and other skin diseases. It treats. Well, that's the thing on the side. I guess maybe there was more to this picture at one time. So, if soaking in radiation is good, well, hey, what would be better than that, John?
Just like every episode, drinking it.
Let's drink it. You're gonna drink it. So what did they do? They got these damn things that were called radiation emanation activators, which is just a big. It just looks like a cooler, a water cooler. You know, like if you worked if you worked on the set of Mad Men, you know, you would have one of these bad boys. Except for these have radium in them. You know, it looks like a water cooler, an old 1900s water cooler. I guess Mad Men's not from the 1900s, but you know, same deal. If it's not now, it's a long time ago. That's the way I look at the world. So there were apparatuses, or is it apparatuses or apparati?
I think either, because I learned the other day it could be octopuses or octopi.
Octopussies? Really?
Now, I mean, because I was like,
both are
no,
correct?
it's octopi, and then whoever I was talking to was like, it could be both, and I was like,
kind of like fish or fishes. There were some that were officially scientifically constructed emanators, and they were sold to hospitals, universities, and independent researchers. So here's an interesting thing: the Journal of the American Medical Association they were actually worried about these things, but not for the reason you would think. They were worried that there was going to be fake machines. So they were like, oh shit, there's going to be people who try to just pretend that there's radium in their stuff, but there's not. So we're going to make sure that they get their radium. So they actually had an AMA. They were worried that people were going to be cheated out of their radium. So they made sure that people got enough radium by certifying these machines to deliver enough radium per dose.
Shit.
Yeah.
Where do you even get radium at?
Dude, you know, it had to be at every 5 and dime back in the 1900s. You pull over, you know, trade you for some chewing gum.
That's crazy. That reminds me of alkaline water for some reason.
I knew you were going to say that. I was waiting for you to say that.
I'm going to buy you a machine, dude.
All week, I was like, as soon as I tell him about the radiation water, he's going to talk about alkaline water. I'm
going to buy you a machine, bro.
We're going to do an episode on that. Or maybe not. I haven't looked into it, so maybe it's completely legit. I can't say. Hey, maybe it's beautiful and you know, enormous and huge. I don't know. So far, jury's still out, in my opinion. But it sounds sort of like this. But yeah, they would have people who would claim that their radium water things were more legit than others, and all these different companies made them, and they were huge. Like everybody put them in their houses. And
was there a level like you can't have more than this much radium, or did they even check? Like,
they didn't have a high end. There was so the AMA had a low end that you had to have to be certified. Mm-hmm.
Oh shit!
Which we'll get into the problems with that. So the next thing here was this stuff called Radiathor. Radiathor was just a solution of radium salts made by this guy named William J.H. Bailey. I've always wanted to get 2 middle initials. How do you get that? You just start going by 2 names. Like I'm gonna be William J.K. Quack. Be like, just kidding. Like J.K. I don't know. I think, you know, it'd be pretty sweet to have a bunch of initials, you know?
Yeah, it would be.
William J.A. Bailey. He said it would cure chronic joint and muscle conditions, high blood pressure, nephritis, which is like an inflamed kidney, which I guess if you were, you know, messing up your kidney, doing, you know, eating bad and drinking radiation, you know, oh, wait, no, it was supposed to fix this. And simple and pernicious anemia. You know what pernicious anemia is?
Anemia is the lack of blood flow. Wait. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pernicious.
Pernicious. Yeah, it's actually just where a condition where your body can't absorb enough vitamin B12.
Oh, okay.
So you're always tired. So you really have to do those B12 shots, which this made me think of all the old people who love to get their B12 shots because it gives them energy. It's time for my B12 shot. It's bingo night. I'm going to get lucky. The retirement home. Sorry to all of our senior citizen listeners. Old Jack, I'm looking at you, man.
Is it does B12 work?
So here's the thing. It does.
Shots?
It works. Yeah. Well, so vitamin B12 is much, cyanocobalamin is much more easily absorbed when it's injected, but it doesn't matter if you're not deficient. If you're deficient in it, it's going to give you a huge energy boost. If you're not, it's not going to do anything. You're just going to pee it out. Well,
how do you know if you're
have you ever drank a Red Bull or drank a Monster or drank one of those drinks and afterwards you're peeing out like neon yellow? That's that's B12. So you don't need that B12. So your body, it's water soluble. So your body just pisses it right out.
Oh, okay. Oh, fuck.
Well, it's more than just B12. It's other B vitamins. But yeah, they put it in there because they were like, oh shit, B vitamins give you energy. It's like, sure. B vitamins give you energy if you're low on the B vitamins. Yeah, they actually had some weird things they told us in pharmacy school, like these people who they had like these really weird like mental things. They thought they had dementia and all this stuff, and it was like they were just they had pernicious anemia or they had whatever where they couldn't absorb the vitamin B12, so they started giving them the shots and they were just like perfectly fine. Jeez. Like they came back completely. Which would be, can you imagine if they didn't try that? They would just think that they were just mentally gone for the rest of their lives. God, that's scary. Shit. That's scary stuff to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, Radithor, there's some pretty, the Radium Chemical Company. Radium mesothorium in triple distilled water. Ooh, thank God. That's triple distilled water. I was worried about the water being clean enough.
Put it in the alkaline water.
Ooh, man, talking about double duty. This is one I can't read any of this stuff. I actually put the you ever use Google Translate?
No, not really.
It's definitely the closest thing I've ever seen to real magic.
Oh, really?
Did you know? Yeah, you take this shit, you get Google Translate. We used this when we were in other countries. I'm sure Nicole knows about this because she's very worldly and travels a lot. You can put this shit up on your camera on your phone, and if you hold it up to a sign that's in another language, it will translate the sign and in the same text font and change it to English on the picture on your phone, and the sign looks exactly the same. It's magic. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like it, dude.
Crazy.
It's freaky as shit. But here's some stuff. Here, I'll do it right now, and we can read these. This is some German toothpaste that has radiation in it. Radium toothpaste. They said, and I shit you not, this is the quote, for a smile that glows.
Holy shit.
Right,
I kind of want to try it though, man.
Oh, of course you do. Dude, that's the thing. What we're going to do, all right, once we've been doing this show for long enough, we're going to start our own YouTube channel where we try everything from quackery once we get enough shit going, right?
It's probably going to be me trying everything. You're going to make me the guinea pig.
So this says, make your teeth, so it says, mach die Zahn blended with schon den Schmelz, which translates roughly to make your teeth dazzling white, protect the enamel. And then down below it says that, it blinked out. That is the radioactive, biologically effective toothpaste, Doramod radioactive toothpaste. Can you see it or no?
Yeah, I see it.
Isn't that freaky? That's what it does.
Pretty
in
freaky.
Real life. Like you can point it at anything. It freaks me out.
That's freaky, yeah.
Anyway, I did it one time. I was stuck in traffic and there was this Spanish sign in a small town. I was like, I wonder what that says. I held it up to it. I was like, dude, Harry Potter would shit his little britches.
Yeah.
If he saw that shit. All right. So then let's go to something called Degnan's radioactive eye applicator. This was the 1920s. So these things, they look like glasses, but you can't see through them. It's basically like these big. I'll put it up on quackerypodcast.com. It looks like those, almost like those glasses on National Treasure, except for they're just completely domed over. They're like, it's like, Benjamin Franklin invented some bifocals. No, I think he invented these.
That's weird looking.
But they're $30. They're in this velvety case, and it's just like, instead of being able to see through them, it's just this big metal radium things that you put over your eyes, and they're supposed to. Or here's a quote from inside the box. The radioactive lenses will be found helpful in imperfect refraction, myopia or nearsight, hypermetropia or farsight, presbyopia or old sight, heterophobia or difficulty in focusing. I guess they've made up all those words. I don't think we use some of those anymore. And headaches caused by eye strain and other eye disorders can be quickly relieved by the use of lenses. The best results are obtained by wearing the lenses for a period of 5 to 10 minutes twice a day, keeping the eyes closed during treatment. So you just zap your eyes with some radiation, man. It's good to go.
That's nuts.
Wonder if it would work for twitching eye. Man, I had an eye twitch when quarantine started that lasted for like 3 weeks.
That's
I tried everything.
Crazy, man. Like it just twitches.
It would just like, it would just twitch, man. It drove me nuts.
Does that mean you're like, maybe you're dehydrated or something? I don't know.
I wasn't dehydrated. I think it had to do with like, I think it had to do with not enough sleep, too much stress, or
It's
like,
all those
I don't
Mountain
know.
Dews you're drinking, dude.
Dude, you got to do the do. You don't do the do. The do doesn't do you. You got to do the do, man.
You got that Mountain Dew mouth.
You remember that drink? Speaking of Mountain Dew mouth, we'll get to that. Okay. But do you remember that drink Surge?
Yeah.
Dude, what happened to Surge, man?
Oh my God, dude.
Wasn't it just a stronger Mountain Dew? I'll admit it. I like the Diet Dew. I'm a fan.
I'm not a fan of Mountain Dew or Sprite. I'm a Dr.
This
Pepper
is the first
fan.
time I've mixed it with vodka, and it's delightful. I'll say that. It's a nice little, it's like I feel like it's a nice, I'm drinking Mountain Dew in the mountain. Put a little moonshine in this bitch and drink it all night long. Next thing here is another foreign product. So there was a group of people they called the Radium Girls. So there was a name for these women who used radium-based makeups, creams, and face creams and powders. They called them the Radium Girls. Okay, there were things like Revigorette and Thoradia, and they would make you. I did Google Translate on this. It says they would improve your skin quickly and without danger. But now there was also another famous mention of Radium Girls. So they called these girls who wore these Radium Girls, but there was also this group of 5 girls who brought suit against these companies that were, so they used, I don't know if you knew this, also they used to put radium in watches, and when they would glow in the dark before?
Yeah.
They were self-luminous, the self-luminous paint was radioactive. That's why it glowed. Well, the girls who were painting this stuff on, they didn't have anyone, they didn't have a safe way to do it. So there's over and over, they're painting on these watches, and they all were getting sick. And so these 5 women, they were known as the Radium Girls. And I'll get into what happened to them and other people who were exposed to radium in a little bit. But they brought suit to these companies, and they were very famous for that. Apparently, this was around in the 1920s.
They don't still have those watches, do they? They don't use those watches anymore?
I think they do. I thought there are still, but they just are able to seal them up more safely. But don't quote me on that. It probably not, actually, now that I think of it. Because I remembered when I was younger, somebody was like, oh, yeah, this is a radioactive watch. That's why it glows. But I think they were messing with me, or they were old, and maybe they were old and they had a radioactive watch. I don't know.
Jesus.
Yeah, don't quote me on this kind of stuff. I'm all hopped up on Mountain Dew. All right, so then they must have been like, hey, how can we make cigarettes more dangerous? Oh, let's put radium in cigarettes.
What?
Can you believe that shit?
Oh, yeah.
Here's I'll put this up on quackerypodcast.com. It's $1.50 for these Bachari cigarettes with radium. The little tin that it comes in is sweet. I wish I could get one of those. If anyone knows where there is one, I'll be willing to pay $1.50 for that tin for sure.
Dude, when I had visited my brother in Bulgaria, because he had went to Bulgaria for some reason. And anyway, I went there just for like a week to visit him. And we went to this little shop, and he bought cigarettes that the name of them were Death Lights. and it had a skull on the case, and the guy didn't want to sell them. And he was like, don't smoke these. I think they had cyanide in them.
What?
Anyway.
Did you smoke them?
No.
He just wanted to buy them because they said
Yeah,
Death
he just
Lights.
wanted to buy them because it was
Pretty sweet.
Anyway, that's what it reminded me of.
That's
Death
badass.
Lights.
That's badass, man. Oh my God. Other things with Death Lights. Other things with radium in it. Here's a fun. Actually, this is another one with the water, but at this point, they were putting radium in everything. Here's one that says, "Here's health." We've seen that a lot lately, right?
Yeah.
Here's health. This one says, to keep your health, you must keep nature's laws. They are simple and easy to keep, but if they are broken, nature exacts a heavy penalty from each and every one. Get plenty of sleep, exercise, and have wholesome fun. Avoid overwork and other excesses. Eat fresh, natural foods. Breathe the fresh air. Drink plenty of fresh, invigorating, natural radioactive water from Radium Spa. And there was Radium brand creamery butter. They put radium in butter. These poor cows.
I can't believe it's not uranium.
I can't believe that the light on the fridge went out. It's still glowing in there. All right, here's the one you're going to like. This is right up your alley. There's something called the Vita Radium Suppositories for restoring sex power.
What is that?
Vita Radium Suppositories for rectal use by men are tone restorers of sex and energizers for the entire nervous, glandular, and circulatory systems. These suppositories contain a result-producing amount of highly refined soluble radium carried in a cocoa butter base. This radium is absorbed through the walls of the lower colon, enters the bloodstream, and is carried to all parts of the body, to the weakened organs that need its vitalizing aid. After leaving its durably healthy results, the radium is gradually eliminated in about 3 days. Vita Radium Suppositories are guaranteed entirely harmless, recommended for sexually weak men who, however, should use the new human tablets in connection for best results. Also splendid for piles and rectal sores. Eee. Try them and see what results you get.
That's
boy.
great.
So basically, it's almost like a radioactive butt plug.
Yeah. What does it dissolve in there or something?
Yeah, I mean it's cocoa butter, so it's gonna dissolve. You're gonna get the radium up in you, and it's gonna, it makes me, all these radium products make me think. You ever played that game Fallout?
Yeah.
Oh, I love Fallout.
That's a really good game,
all the
actually.
radiation stuff. Yeah, they did a really damn good job with those.
Yeah.
Although that last one, Fallout 64, 76 or whatever
I
it
never
is.
played the other. I
didn't like it. It's like online. Yeah. That's what that Bethesda, man, they try to put everything online and they mess it all up. So, of course, when there's dick money to be made, they're going to go for the dick money. So what else did they make? New energy for weak, sagging men. Testosterone, radium, energizer, and suspensory. It's radium underwear.
What?
There's also
like
radium tea
Oh my God.
for sexual, and we can discourage men. Now bubble over with joyous vitality through the use of glands and radium. Oh my God!
Oh
And
my
it shows
God.
it shows this guy. I'm gonna put this picture up. It's kind of hard to see, but it almost looks. I can't tell if he's holding this woman's hands and he's sitting down and she's like trying to take off her clothes, or if he's like zapping her with his radiation. Does it look like that? It kind of looks like he's shooting him with his powers, like.
Yeah, I don't know. That's so
can't really
weird.
tell.
What is he doing?
I think he's holding her hands, but he is sitting down, and she is her
Yeah, but wow.
her nightie is falling off. So much has been written and said about the ductless glands within the last years, and nearly everyone now recognizes premature old age conditions as a common result of glandular fatigue. It's just very small, but anyway, it's more of the same. Radiation's going to make your dong just glow with power. I thought about Homer Simpson with all the damn the uranium always like falls in his pocket the beginning of every episode. Yeah, I love that. There was this company. You'll like this company. They were hilarious. They were called the Radium Appliance Company, and they were in L.A. And they were actually in this building called the Bradbury Building. So they said that's the building. Yeah, it's famous apparently. I don't know. Have you heard of it?
Is that by any chance have anything to do with Ray Bradbury?
I don't know about that, but I do know they said it was where they shot Blade Runner. That scene where he goes through the market. You know what I'm talking about? You seen Blade Runner? It's very old.
So. Isn't that Stephen King?
Mel Gibson flick. No, it's actually Philip Dick. Yeah.
Oh, Philip Dick. Why did I think it was Stephen King?
Philip K. Dick or whatever. No, it's good. Actually, the book is called "Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?"
Yeah, I've seen that book. I've never read it.
Yeah, I actually picked it up at this little bookstore. It was like an original. It was really cool.
Have you ever read any Ray Bradbury?
Is it good?
Oh yeah.
Well, maybe I have. What does Ray Bradbury have?
Fahrenheit 451.
Oh yeah, I've read that. Yeah. So the Radium Appliance Company was in the Bradbury Building, which is famous from the movie Blade Runner. Philip K. Dick wrote the Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which is way different from the movie, but they're both good. Mel Gibson, back in the damn day, I think it was the 80s that movie was filmed. Anyway, so it's in that building, but the funny part was they would change. That's where they officially were, but anytime when they would put out a new advertisement, they would change the address, the physical address of where they were every day.
What?
Every day they would be like, oh no, we're here. Oh no, we're here. And like they'd put out all these radiation products just like all the time. And some of them wouldn't even have radiation. Like, dude, these people, they knew what they were doing. The Radium Appliance Company, established 1916 in Los Angeles. They're awesome. They would say, oh, here's one of them, a radiation pad worn over the stomach at night. Sold on trial. You can be sure it is helping you before you buy it. Just a light, small, comfortable, inexpensive radioactive pad. No medicine or drugs.
Jesus.
And who knows what the hell. So there's a lot more stuff, but that's just some of the fun things I found. So let's just get into it. Is radiation harmful? Well, no shit, Sherlock. We know it is. We've seen Chernobyl. We've seen Fukushima. We listened to the episode John did on the poor guy who died from radiation poisoning.
Did you see the picture?
Yes. Oh, I don't want to think about that if I'm going to try to sleep tonight.
Oh, shit.
It's just awful. But so that's very high energy radiation. That's high blast. So this is so ionizing radiation has sufficient energy to affect the atoms of living cells. So you actually damage the DNA. You know because you did an episode on this.
Yeah.
Well, our bodies are really good at actually repairing DNA damage, believe it or not. However, we're not 100%. So when you're doing these things like drinking radium, you're damaging your DNA constantly. You're not going to hit. Your cells are not going to be able to get it every time. So you're going to be killing cells, and very often you're going to be causing cancer in cells. That's one of the problems. There's also other things it's like radiation sickness, like you'll see in a very high, but you can get it if there's also enough exposure to. There can be long-term effects, like as we say, cancer. There can be cardiovascular disease because if you're killing cells on your heart tissue, that's or any of your cardiovascular system, it's going to be very bad. You could get burns as we saw from the guy who was carrying the radium in his pocket. You're going to get hair falling out, teeth falling out. Just you're going to get necrosis of tissues. That means it's just eating away because it's killing these cells and they can't always repair properly. So you'd get these people who were drinking radium, and I'll put some pictures up on quackerypodcast.com. Here's a gentleman here who was using different sort of radium products, and it basically rotted away his entire nose and his upper lip.
Jesus.
Just like, he looks like he's turning into a zombie, man.
Yeah.
His nose is just gone.
Wow.
Which is wild. So cases started springing up of people getting carcinomas and cancer from radium therapy up to 40 years after their original treatments, because they used these for a while before the they started taking it off the market. And an interesting thing I found was there was this guy called Eben Byers, or Eben, I guess maybe, yeah, Eben, because his name was Ebenezer, which is sweet.
Yeah.
I think Ebenezer's a badass name.
Yeah.
But he was like really famous, like socialite, but he was also a pro golfer. Or no,
Oh.
yeah, he was a pro golfer, but initially he got into golfing. He won the U.S. Amateur. He finished runner-up at the U.S. Amateur Golf Tournament in 1902 and 1903, and then he won it in 1906. And he went pro after that, but then he had to stop because 6 months later, he got these big fistulas on his face because he was using radium products, and he died 6 months after that.
Jesus.
Yeah, and so his autopsy revealed he only had 6 teeth left. His brain was abscessed. His kidneys had failed, and they checked his bones, and there were 36 micrograms of radium still in his bones, and 10 micrograms is considered a fatal dose.
Jesus.
So, yeah, isn't that sad? Like, he thought. Then that's the thing. Like, people who had money, they were like, "Oh, if radium's is so good for you, I'm just going to use all the radium products because I got money."
Yeah.
And he was rich. His dad was an industrialist. He was a socialite. He was doing all the things, and he thought it would probably help him with his golf. He was probably smoking radium cigarettes and doing drinking the radium water and all that shit.
That's crazy. I only drink
It
alkaline
really is.
water.
Don't only drink the alkaline water. That. You're just drinking Drano, right? No, it's not that alkaline. So long after a lot of people had died from radium, in 1938, the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, this is different from 1906 when the Pure Food and Drug Act, because radium wasn't affected really by the Pure Food and Drug Act. The only way it was affected was by making sure people took enough radium to get them sick, right?
Yeah.
Because people couldn't pretend like, oh, we're not going to give you the radium, that we say we are. The Pure Food and Drug Act made sure that they were getting enough.
That's crazy.
Which is... So 1938, they outlawed deceptive packaging that made Radithor and other radium-branded products marketable. So things like Radium Brand Creamery, radioactive jock straps, all that stuff had to come off the market because they knew it was unsafe, which is part of the 1906, but they would market them in such a way that it didn't, it was, sort of ambiguous. And this really, any deceptive packaging that would say that it was safe and these sort of things, they had to take it off. So there's an article in the Everyday Science and Mechanics, which I assume is something like Popular Mechanics, in June 1932. It's like, radium, a boon or a menace? And they interviewed a whole bunch of people, and the consensus was it can treat cancer pretty well sometimes. Sometimes it works the way you want, sometimes it doesn't. But in any case, make sure the radium is contained and don't eat it.
Just stick it up your butt.
Apparently that's the idea, right? So, the other question, I guess, would be radiation therapy for cancer now, right?
Yeah, that's what I was
So
thinking,
they use high energy. So it's like using high energy particles, but not like not radium or uranium or anything like that. They actually use special equipment that sends high doses of high energy radioactive particles into cancerous cells or tumors, and it's going to affect healthy cells too, but the idea is that you're going to try to kill it all, and the healthy cells can repair themselves, while cancer cells, they can only spread to healthy cells. So hopefully you hit it with all this radiation, you kill a lot of the cancer, the healthy cells can then grow back, and then maybe you come back and you do it again, and maybe you can shrink these tumors. Or it can, sometimes it can just minimize some of the pain, or it can be used with chemotherapy. Yeah, that's obviously, so that's an extreme case for using this, but people were using it for everything, man. They put it in their water. So, what other questions do you have about radiation and all this bullcrap?
I don't, man. I mean,
I had no idea that people used all this stuff. I
the
thought
toothpaste is really
it.
interesting to me.
Toothpaste, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of people, as you saw with that, I just took one kind of famous example of a really famous socialite guy, Ebenezer Byers. All his teeth fell out, his kidneys didn't work, and that's the main thing. Like, you look at it, people who are drinking this radioactive water, it's like they got meth mouth to like the millionth degree. It's just like rotting their jaw and their teeth away. It's just unbelievable. Anyway, that's our show. If this episode really quacked y'all up and you want to support the crew, head on over to quackerypodcast.com/join and become an official Quackhead. Make sure and hit the subscribe button and follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Check out all the pictures from the show on quackpod.com or quackerypodcast.com. They both go to the same place. Rate and review us on Apple Podcast. It makes a huge difference. Tell your friends, and as always, keep calm and quack on. And tell Spotify that if we can get some of that Joe Rogan money, we'll sell out in a minute.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. We don't even need 100 million. We'll take like 10.
Yeah.